All right, everybody, I'm Logan Alec. I'm a CPA, and in this video, I'm going to go over President Joe Biden's and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden's 2020 tax returns. They were just released moments ago by the White House, appropriately as it is tax day today. If you haven't yet filed your extension, make sure you do so. If you haven't filed your tax return yet, I have a video on how to do that, link at the top of the screen. But let's get into the President and First Lady's 2020 tax return. Here we go. 2020 individual income tax return. Joseph R. Biden Jr., Jill T. Biden. Of course, they want to contribute to the presidential election campaign fund. I mean, why wouldn't they? Joe is the president. Okay, so we know that Joe does not trade cryptocurrency. He did not buy any cryptocurrency in 2020. He missed out. What can I say? But hey, he was busy running for president, right? All right, so they do, if they were to take the standard deduction, they would get the increased standard deduction here due to age. They're not blind, so they don't get that one. No dependents, right? I was halfway expecting to see Hunter Biden's name there, but I guess not. All right, so wages, 200. So okay, so just big picture here. How much do they make? About 600 grand, right? With the lion's share of that coming from wages. I imagine this is probably Jill's income from her job. We can look at the statement in a second, and distributions from pensions or perhaps retirement plans. But let's see what these wages are here. Statement one. Let's see, where can we find that here in the table of contents? Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Here we go. So statement one. Okay, I guess maybe that's not mostly Jill's income. So Jill's income for the Northern Virginia Community College is only $12,000 a year. Bulk of this income is from Giacoppa Corp. I hope we'll find out more what that is as we go through the tax return. I might have to use Google to help me as well. Or maybe this is a corp, maybe an S corp to manage earnings, royalties. I don't know. I'll have to Google it and see what Giacoppa Corp is, and maybe we'll get some clues from the tax return. Okay, so we got some interest here. No tax exempt interest. That's interesting. So no muni bonds for Uncle Joe. Dividends, no dividends. That's really interesting to me. Do the Bidens not own stock in taxable brokerage accounts? That's very interesting to me. No IRA distributions. Here's the pensions, and I think we saw the where's the pension? We can see where the pension's from here. There we go. Office of Pensions, Office of Personnel Management. So I imagine these are President Biden's pensions, right, for his government service. Looks like they might have some annuities here or something like this as well. I'm not familiar with this company, Voya Retirement Insurance and Annuity Company, but probably some kind of annuity. But looks like most of this retirement pension income is from federal pensions, right? I imagine attributable to President Biden's service over the decades. Okay, all right. So we got most of this here is Giacoppa Corp W-2 income. We'll have to see what that is. Most of the pensions and annuities here are, I would imagine, Joe's pension from the federal government. Social Security benefits here, of course, not the entire amount is not taxable. The taxable amount is determined by how much other income you have. Maybe I should create a separate video on that. What's this other income here? Other income from Schedule 1, line 9. Let's take a look. Rental real estate, royalties, partnerships, S corporations. Okay, let's dig into this. Is this all that Giacoppa Corp, whatever that is, or is there some rental real estate here too? Yep, it's all Giacoppa Corp. Now, I'm really curious what this is, so I'm going to Google this. So I Googled Giacoppa Corp, and kind of what I suspected. It says these entities, it's like they used to have another one called Celtic Capri, but I didn't see that one on the tax return anymore. But this Gia Compa are entities paid for the couple's book deals and speaking gigs, right? So that's what I was talking about royalties, right? What is an S corporation? S corporation is a strategy you can use to reduce or to eliminate the self-employment tax. So if you just take your self-employment income and you report it directly on your Schedule C, you will pay a self-employment tax on that income. Now, if you have an S corp set up, a part of the income you earn in the S corp that you pay yourself as an employee of your S corp through W-2, you do have to pay the payroll taxes on that. But the amount you take in excess of that, you don't have to. Okay, so it's basically the main tax advantage of an S corp is avoiding some of that self-employment tax, right? So it looks like the Bidens used this S corp called Gia Compa Corp. I don't know how they came up with the name, in order to avoid a little bit of taxes on some self-employment income, such as authorship income, speaking gigs, things like that. So if we add together the W-2 from the Schedule E income of $90,000, that should tell us how much they made in total in 2020 from those revenue sources. So I think the W-2 wages was $200,000 even, plus the $90,000 Schedule E income. Wow, they are really. Wow, that's a lot. They're usually you want to minimize the wages you take out of your S corp so you can avoid paying more payroll tax. They're taking most of their income from this S corp, Gia Compa Corp, as wages rather than just as distribution, so to speak. Because the wages, as we saw from Gia Compa Corp, was $200,000, but the S corp, the distribution income, if you want to call it that, the pass-through income was only $90,000. So that's really interesting to me. So we add all that up, got about $600,000 of income here. These are their itemized deductions, right? $56,000. Let's take a look at that. Here we go. Okay, so taxes, right? Capped at $10,000. So because of the SALT cap limit, the Bidens are missing out on $80,000 worth of tax deductions, that they could reduce their taxable income by. So for federal tax purposes, the Bidens are in the 35% bracket. So if we do a little math here, an additional $80,000 deduction for them here that they're missing, if we didn't have that $10,000 SALT cap, would be worth about $28,000 in tax savings for them at their marginal 35% rate, right? All right, what else we got here? So this is home mortgage interest. That is what it is. Okay, gifts to charity, about $30,000. Okay, so what is that? They give about 5%, because about $600,000 of income, right? $30,000 to charity, so they give about 5% of their income to charity. Let's see the charities here. Let's see if their accountant. Here we go. Filled that out. Okay, it looks like most is to this Beau Biden Foundation. Obviously, that is President Biden's late son, who passed away from cancer, as I'm sure many of you know. Some other Catholic churches here. Well, this is interesting. So they give to both a Catholic church and a Presbyterian church. I think this church here is in D.C. I think it's a church that lots of government officials attend. Don't quote me on that. Okay, there's some other stuff here. You can check out these charitable organizations if you want to. They're all on the screen there. Okay, let's go back to those deductions, see if there's anything else interesting there. Nope, that's it. Okay, so let's keep moseying on through his return there. So we have his total income, plus his itemized deductions, $550,000 taxable income. Like I said, that would put them at a 35% marginal tax rate for married filing jointly. So the tax on that, $142,000. Other taxes here, including self-employment tax from Schedule 2, line 10. Let's take a look. Household employment taxes. Okay, let's see if they have a Schedule H. This is what you would pay, like taxes on income you pay to household employees. Okay, yeah, they do file the Schedule H. So basically what this is, if you have a household employee, right, nanny, maid, babysitter, gardener, that you pay more than $2,300 during the year, yeah, you have to pay Social Security and Medicare tax on their behalf. So it looks like they paid 95 grand of qualifying wages to household employees. Well, I guess it was 2,200 last year, but now it's 2,300. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. All right. I don't think we're gonna have. Are we gonna have information here? I don't think we're gonna actually see what. We're not gonna see the names or anything. But wow, they paid 95 grand to household employees. Okay, that's one almost a sixth of their total income for the year. So, you know, interpret that as you will. All right, so there's the tax on household employees income. Total tax 157, just adding the regular income tax plus the household employee tax. And here's the taxes withheld from W-2s and 1099s. Interesting. They got 1099 withholding. Was that possibly from the that's probably from the 1099-R, right, for the pension there. So that's not too unusual. All right, so 157 total tax, 161 withheld. Schedule 3, line 13. Excess Social Security tax paid. If you have multiple multiple sources of income on which Social Security tax is withheld, sometimes you'll overpay, and that'll be a credit against your tax liability. So they're getting a refund of $4,649. Okay. We got the CPA's name here, Walter H. Dale. So I just Googled this guy. Let's see what he looks like. The President's CPA. All right. Cool. There he is. Okay, so that's kind of the bulk of it. Let's keep walking through here. We already covered a lot of these pages. Covered the itemized deductions. So, okay, the interest. Only $6,000 of interest, no dividends, which was surprising to me. Let's look at statement 6 to see the sources of this interest. I would imagine it's mostly just bank account interest income. Yeah. Okay, so most of this is at, what is that? WSFS Bank, I think is that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, WSFS Bank. I'm not familiar with that bank. So it looks like a regional bank there in Delaware that the Bidens must do the majority of their banking at. Okay, let's go back to, where were we? Schedule A, Schedule B. We talked about the interest. This is at Giacoppa Corp. This is their K1 income. We talked about this. Okay, household employee taxes. This is the net investment income tax. That's just a flat percentage. Okay, we already went through most of this here. So, yep, this is the president's tax return. I like how they supplied all the statements as well. Oftentimes with presidential tax returns, they'll just supply like page 1 and 2, of the tax return. We got the state return here for Delaware as well. Since the president and his wife were Delaware residents in 2020. Looks like we got some Virginia income here as well. Let's see, where's the Virginia income from? Let's see if we have an allocation here. Okay, 12,681. This is familiar. This is Dr. Jill Biden's community college wages, right, for teaching there. So that's, she teaches in Virginia, so it's sourced in Virginia. Hence, they file a Virginia tax return. Any other states? I don't think so. Just Delaware, the resident state, or at least it was in 2020, and the Virginia for the First Lady's professor wages. So, all right, folks, fun little video here covering the President's tax return that was just released today, tax day, May 17th. Like I said, if you haven't yet filed a tax extension yet for tax year 2020 and you haven't filed your tax return yet, and you're not going to finish your tax return by midnight local time tonight, check out my video right over here where I talk about how to file a tax extension for 2020. Also, if you owe back taxes to the IRS, check out my video right down here where I talk about the basics of how an offer and compromise works to the IRS. I'll see you in both of those tax videos. Bye-bye.